I hope everyone is doing well. And I hope you had a fantastic last week, closing of last week. Hope you got everything done, everything that you wanted to accomplish, that you actually accomplished it. More so, even if you exceeded your goal. So I'm going to say shout out to all of those who actually exceeded the goal, not only met their goals for the week, whether it's professionally, personally, educational wise, etc. Also, for those who did not meet or exceed the goals from last week that you set out for yourself, don't beat yourself up about it. Don't go there because it does absolutely nothing for what you need to do and focus on this week. Okay? So, I don't think I need to say that twice. But what I will say is, welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm No Sugarcoating Coach, Coach TOYE Johnson-Vincent. TJV empowers you. That's the letter U.com. TJV empowers you. That's the letter U.com. That's where you can find a little bit more about me. Go to the About page. Learn something about my multiple stories of resilience, which would include not being as resilient as I wanted to be in many times in my life. And which puts me on that path for being a life coach. But prior to all of this, and my super love is for speaking, motivational speaking, event speaker at conferences, you name it. Please invite me to speak, inspire, motivate, and empower your audience today. So, with a little bit of background, of course, I do have a background in HR. So I speak on topics of career development from a coaching standpoint, would be regarding personal growth and development, because we all have to grow. We all have to grow in all areas. And good morning to anyone and everyone who may join today. I appreciate that. Okay. And I really want to, today it's really about, and this is an interesting subject, and that would be regarding family dynamics. Because again, I am a certified life coach, but many of us have families that we are currently estranged from, excuse me, which may or may not be good or great for your emotional well-being, because perhaps you grew up in the house with people and now you're no longer even in contact. How it happens, when did it happen, all of that only matters if you're talking about from a psychology standpoint, I'm assuming, because, or medical professionals. And the first thing they say is, what happened to lead you to that point where you're actually no longer speaking or communicating to your family or with your family. So the thing is that we all have different things that are going on in our lives that may have put you in a place where you had to reevaluate. You had to reevaluate what led you to that point. And the truth be told is that even when you got down to the brass tacks of everything, more than likely, you probably didn't do or say anything so wrong that would put you in the state of mind, or for example, or the person or persons that you are no longer in contact with, how serious could it have been? Now, one of the things is that with families, and specifically I'm talking about family dynamics today, from a coaching perspective, and just from, personal development growth. Because again, we need to be able to grow in all areas of our lives. But what good is it if you aren't beginning with what's within you that will make you say, I am no longer communicating with family. Excuse me. So again, we are always challenged with the approach of trying to understand, how far do we go? How do we bring the relationship back? And when you think about it, it's not only with family, but today we're just kind of putting it more about family. And even as I'm speaking with you now, I just started thinking about even in my own situation. And there have been many times where, I had to think about it. Well, how do we think about this clinically? What would those wonderful medical professionals say, from the psychologist's point of it all? Yeah, you're going to get upset with your family. At some point, you can't always get along, right? You may not always get along. Whether it's mom or dad or the guardian, the person who raised you, even in your adult life, you're still thinking and talking about what someone said to you years ago. And I remember someone said this on a different program, and I was thinking, wow, psychologically, there are people that are still upset with family members who are no longer with us. So you have to go deep on that one, but that would be more for clinical psychologists and psychiatrists, all of those things, medical professionals, to help you get through and understand, how are you still upset with someone who's no longer with us? And they were your family. They were your blood family. And by the way, it doesn't have to be blood family, because many people are closer to people who they aren't related to. They're related in a way, but they're not really, and they're not blood, right? So, but you just formed that relationship over many years, and you were able to talk with them about things that you normally wouldn't speak to about with anybody else. You felt comfortable. You felt a sense of peace. Peace. Shout out to me if you know what I'm talking about. So, you know how you'll say, oh, I'm closer to that person than I am my own siblings. That's what I'm talking about. So, to go into the next phase of what my message is today, you can you can feel a certain way about your own siblings, your own mom and dad, or the person that raised you. Maybe it's grandma, grandpa. You never really agreed with whatever they were telling you, because they were always telling you what to do. And respectfully, I mean, at least the way I was raised, you would respect your elders. I guess all of that went out the window when, at this point in my life, if I had said nieces and nephews, respect, I don't know. I don't really see it. I remember experiencing it at one time. But theoretically, if you have no communication with those individuals, then you kind of like don't really have anything really to stand on, right? But how do we get back to the basics? How do we get to understanding, right? How do we do that? And to make it easier in your life or in their life. Either way, how do you get there? Well, guess what? Sometimes, and you've probably heard this before, With family, it's such a delicate situation, right? It's normally just a really delicate situation. And the deal is, you're really trying to be that person, that stand-up person. You may be the one that always brings the family back together. You yourself may be the one that's always calling and saying, hey, listen, why don't we talk about this? Or maybe you're not really calling them, but you're texting them to say, hey, haven't heard from you in a while. Or, hey, I know we didn't leave on that last conversation, whether it was a phone call or text. Maybe the phone just hung up on you. It can happen. And that's probably one of the worst feelings, if the phone is hung up on you, because nothing really gets resolved. And it's a family member, it's your sibling, or your mom, dad, guardian, whomever raised you, and somebody actually hangs up the phone on you. I mean, that's just, there's so many different words that I could use to describe how that would feel. And the first one comes to mind is, it's a disrespectful kind of feeling. So again, someone's calling you out of your name and different things like that. Yeah, that's what I mean, like disrespectful. And it's a family member. Not good. Not good, folks. Not good. But the message regarding family dynamics, and I will be talking more about family dynamics in a non-clinical way, because I'm not a clinical psychologist or psychiatrist. I do not work in the medical field. I've kind of wanted to do something along those lines in the medical field. But you know what? My HR background, my speaking and communications background has sustained me thus far. But you never know. That may be a second career and later on in life. I'm still thinking about it, because there's so many people out here who aren't speaking. Let me just get down to it right now. You're not speaking to your siblings. You aren't speaking to mom. You aren't speaking to dad. You aren't speaking to the person that raised you. And for all due purposes, it's a real loss and grief and loss when those people that you used to speak to, they're no longer with us, and now you have to deal with that right here from the mind, the mindset. But for the people that still have people in their lives, and when I say in their lives, they're still here for you. You can call them if you know the number, because many people, they just up and changed their number. Oh, excuse me. Did you forget to give me your number? Why would you have to go through multiple family members just to get someone's contact information? It makes no sense. Zero. Especially if those people have been in your life most of your life. Perhaps you're older than them. So it could be your nieces and nephews. Now, you can be any age and have a niece and nephew, so that's true. But I'm just talking about pretty much, real grown, 21 and over or something like that, right? And now you are a aunt or an aunt. Some people pronounce it. They say aunt. Different from auntie. And I'm talking about biologically connected. Like for life. Like you can't do anything about it because you are biologically connected. So why not bring it on home? Collect your thoughts. Be authentic. Let them know how you really feel. And I'm going to say that many of us cannot take rejection like that, in that form or format. So you've reached out to them once. Time has lapsed. Either phone or text. You reached out to them twice. So some more time has lapsed. And now, right up to time number 3. You reached out again. And I'm talking about siblings, which is a whole nother thing because you have sibling rivalry, different things. There could be sometimes a sibling jealousy or envy. It shouldn't be, but it can be. Some people might say that's a little healthy to a level of respect. But it's 3 times. 1, 2, 3. Seriously? No response? Just like don't care, like you don't exist. And for the record, you do know they exist. I'm not talking about someone who has lost a loved one. I'm talking about people who are right here, same place we are on earth. You know, and they're just rocking and rolling, and they decided to rock and roll without you. They're not calling you back. They won't text you back. Nothing. Nada. Zilch. No communication. Some people might say, wow, because they're protecting their peace. There's that word again. P-E-A-C-E. The word peace. But is it really? Because I started to think, how could you have a sibling, even if on the worst day, maybe you cursed each other out? Hopefully not, that you're not doing it that way. Or have never had to do that. But why? Oh, why? What could be so devastating in your mind, in your brain, your mindset? Could it be ignorance? Could be. Could it be immature? Not mature enough to handle a real, deep dive conversation about why you like this towards you. So I know it may seem like more questions than answers. Again, this is from a non-clinical standpoint because I'm not a medical professional. But as a life coach, I just love to talk about life. And in life, you will have people that you believed that they would be close to you forever, especially siblings. Now, let me just say this. It doesn't always happen. It doesn't always happen. So the key would be, how do you fix it? Guess what? Maybe it can't be fixed. Maybe that relationship is severed so far, so cut in half, that it cannot be put together again. Okay? And if that is the case, so be it. Because now it's no longer about why they're not responding to you. Who cares? You reached out 3 times or more. Who cares? You're living your best life, unfortunately, with or without your siblings having communication. Because the way I see it is maybe they just don't care as much as you do. So why are you wasting your time trying to connect or reconnect in this particular situation? Why? You got to ask yourself. Because individually, we all think different. Our mindsets are completely different. Sometimes you talk to like-minded people. You see it all the time or hear about it all the time. But what good is it if they just happen to be related to you? And there's the key. Related. Just because you are related to someone, and I'm talking even blood relatives, primarily blood relatives, it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be close forever. Because we all need to speak up and grow and mature, and some of us have not reached that plateau. So where does that leave the relationship? Well, it just leaves. That's it. And for your, again, we talk about someone wanted to, you know, I mean, so hold on one second here. Let's see. So again, what are your thoughts? I mean, do you just keep trying? Do you just keep trying to build or reconnect with your sibling or your loved ones? Do you just do that or not? Or do you just leave it alone? What do you do? My thought is they are not responding because they're trying to protect their peace. Excuse me. What a dry throat today, wherever you are. North, south, east, and west. But what about your peace? Peace. What about you? Capital YOU, which is what I always talk about or often talk about in my presentations. On the family dynamic side, on the career development side, on the personal growth and development side, in those areas of our lives. Where do you draw the line to protect your peace? Not theirs, but yours. Just something to think about. So if you've ever been in a situation, you're not speaking, your siblings aren't speaking to you, or vice versa, what have you, maybe you're the one on the side getting all of the texts and calls saying, hey, I've been trying to reach out to you. Why aren't you calling me back? Why aren't you doing? I mean, how long are you going to continue to do that? Driving yourself bananas for people who, wherever they are, they're getting their sleep at night. They aren't. I believe they are thinking about you. It's just that they have decided in their own minds they would rather sit this one out. And lastly, people will usually come together if someone is ill, someone got sick, a family member got sick, and I'm talking about including siblings, or mom and dad, or grandma and grandpa, nana, aunties, everything included. And now, you want to say, hey, how you doing? Hey, I want to just tell you so-and-so unfortunately passed away. So now you're picking up the phone. I haven't heard from that person in years, months, but you're related. It's a family member, and now you're hearing from them. And you go, wow. So you waited to all this time, all of that time, months, years, perhaps, decades in some cases, meaning 10 years or more, have passed. But then when something happens to a family member, everyone's jumping up. Hey, what can I do for you? Did you know so-and-so? I'm like, why am I talking to you? You haven't spoken to me in years. Why am I even answering my phone or text, replying to you? Yeah, think about it. So, there it is. And the question would be, has this ever happened to you? And if so, how do you deal with it? How did you deal with it at that time? Do you think you should just leave things the way it is? If someone doesn't contact you and they're your family member, particularly if for those of you who have siblings, you just let it be. Let it go. Mindset, letting it go. But reality is, you're related in blood. You cannot forget those people. You cannot, on a daily basis or every other whatsoever time frame, they're going to come to your mind because you are siblings, for goodness sake. And not all siblings were raised in the same home, right? So you may have some siblings that you're related, your siblings, by blood, and you still could have been raised in someone else's house, maybe in the aunt's house or uncle's house or cousins and whatever. And then if you were raised in the same home, oh, that really just ups the ante right at the moment. It just supersedes everything because you came up in the same house. And by the way, just because you came up in the same house doesn't necessarily mean you're close. It just means you were there. You grew up together. You knew how you were raised together. So your mindset may have something similar, but as we age and we mature, we experience the world and worldly things, then you can start to form your own opinion. And that's where sometimes you may have some disagreements or whatever, but nothing that should take you to a point of no return. I will never speak to you again. And, just zero. So, has that happened to you? I hope not. But if it has, hey, make something in the comments. No names, no places. Because we're respectful on this platform. And I appreciate you all for joining today. And again, this was really about the family dynamics. I'll be talking more about this and other topics where you seem to be at odds with family. They may be in one direction, you went a whole nother direction, and now you're outcast. How does that happen? How do you feel about it? Oh, I'm going to talk about it on my upcoming podcast show. And again, to keep up with me and understand where and when that's going to happen, Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts from, I can tell you right now, you can still go to my current podcast show, which is Speak to Me First. That's the name of the podcast show. Speak to Me First podcast show. And make sure you subscribe. And then a lot of those episodes may be transferred to the brand new platform, as I am still developing. Well, it's developed, but it hasn't launched yet, a new podcast show. So technically it'll be my second podcast show. And currently, I believe I'm in about 30 countries right now on that particular podcast show. So all across the world. And I want to thank you if you have already subscribed to my podcast show, but make sure you do if you have not. And more importantly, subscribe to this channel, No Sugarcoating Coach. And again, I'm Coach Toy, your No Sugarcoating Coach, and I appreciate spending this time with you. And we're going to get some real great topics and conversations going. Oh yeah, definitely. And more lives. And hey to everyone that has joined today. I appreciate it. Even if you missed everything I was saying over the last 30 or so minutes, please go back and look at the live and make sure you comment and say, hey, catching the live on the replay. Appreciate that, okay? In the meantime, if you need me to speak, inspire, motivate, and empower your audience, make sure you check out my website at TJV Empowers You. That's the letter U.com. Again, TJV Empowers You. That's the letter U.com, not YOU. No excuses. You couldn't find me, blah, blah, blah. Don't want to hear it. And LinkedIn is one of my playgrounds in terms of professional playground and platform. So again, if your group or your team, individual coaching, you need a speaker for upcoming events, make sure you connect with me on LinkedIn. And please, the best thing you can do when you like something and you want to do something about it, to let us as the host or any host of a particular show, in this case my YouTube channel, make sure you share. Go ahead and share. I appreciate it. So I'm going to say, have a great one, and remember this: success is in your future. I'm Coach Toy. Bye for now.